For now in the Zombies franchise, everyone seems to be getting along without any big trouble. Bucky has given Addison the cheer captain jacket, the zombies and werewolves are on friendly terms, the werewolves have regained their strength, and the adults have understood the importance of tolerance and equality. The only issue now is that Zombies 2 left us with an intense cliffhanger, and we have so many questions with no answers. At the end of Zombies 2, there was something which dropped out of the sky, and a blue light began glowing on Addison's hair. We've come up with some different possibilities of the different creatures that could be introduced and what could go down in Zombies 3. Let's take a look at some of the craziest ones which might actually be true. The search for Addison's pack. For sure, the biggest mystery in Zombies 3 is about Addison. We can say with almost total certainty that the third installment will be all about searching for Addie's pack. For now, we know that she can't be fully human because all the humans in Seabrook don't have any hair color besides the usual brunette, blonde, or black hair colors that regular people have. But she isn't a zombie either. It's possible that she's some kind of hybrid, but who is she really? We know that an accident at the Seabrook power plant resulted in an explosion which led to half the population of Seabrook turning into brain-eating zombies. Since the explosion happened 50 years ago, we're assuming that the zombies managed to reproduce. Never mind that essentially isn't the most logical idea. A zombie is, after all, characterized by a human who is physically dead without a heartbeat or a pulse. But they have a working nervous system, their brains are still functional, and they have all their senses. They can make sense of their surroundings, but they're actually not living, breathing beings. Haven't you ever thought about where the rest of the younger zombies are? The only zombie kid we see in the series is Joey, but we never see her in class with the other kids. Maybe in Zombies 3 we'll get some insight as to how things work for the zombies. Why can't Bozo talk in English? Besides that, have you ever wondered why all the other zombies talk in English, but Bonzo only talks in the zombie language? Bonzo was only fluent in that language, meaning he couldn't talk directly to humans. While in human territory, he barely talks as his messages require translating by his friends. He's a very kind person, even when the humans won't accept him. He does like to greet new people with a hug. In the original movie, he made friends with Addison by offering her a flower, which she wants to accept, but ultimately turns down due to the cheer squad disapproving of her socializing with zombies. Bonzo also has a possible relationship with Bree towards the end of the first movie. He compliments Bree and gives her a spin. We know that Bonzo is the kind of guy who likes everyone, but he has a soft spot when it comes to Bree. Here's a crazy theory that explains why he can't speak English. What if his mom was human and there were some problems during childbirth as a result of her being a human giving birth to a zombie? Maybe that trouble affected his speech too. Bonzo may not speak English, but he is definitely the best DJ in Seabrook, not to mention that his music does the talking for him. We hope that in the third Zombies movie, Bonzo gets more screen time because he's definitely a fan favorite. A Twilight crossover? Another thing that we could see in Zombies 3 is a Twilight crossover. Yes, you heard that right. After seeing the first zombie movie and before the second came out, fans theorized a Riverdale crossover. Riverdale follows the story of Archie and his friends Jughead, Veronica, and Betty. The story plays out around a murder mystery and teen drama. Sometimes it even explores social cliques, single parents' families, and romances between the characters. You probably didn't know that one of the showrunners, Roberto Aguirre Sacasa, almost created a TV show about Archie's friends in a zombie apocalypse. It was based on The Afterlife with Archie, a comic book about the undead in Riverdale that Roberto created back in 2017. Not just that, but he also teased that bringing in the supernatural wouldn't be totally impossible. In this alternate universe, a zombie outbreak takes over Riverdale after Jughead asks teen witch Sabrina Spellman to use magic to bring his pet dog back to life. Sabrina has to turn to dark magic and the dog is reanimated as one of the undead. But things aren't quite what they used to be. He bites Jughead, from whom the disease spreads throughout Riverdale. However, since there was no Riverdale reference, fans then theorized that we could have a Twilight crossover, saying that it can't be possibly a coincidence that Boo Boo Stewart just happened to appear in Seabrook and his eyes glowed like the rest of the werewolves' eyes. This begged the question, could Boo Boo Stewart be the great alpha in Zombies 3? The idea behind the Zombies movies is essentially about being open to change and accepting each other's differences. We have to admit, though, that for a Disney project, the themes tackled are really heavy. The first film dealt with zombies trying to make a place for themselves in the world of humans, trying to show the humans how they too deserve acceptance like anybody else. And as Ed says, they're not monsters. The second movie shows us a world where zombies and humans have finally made peace and are living in harmony. Zombies 2 looked at newer dilemmas, especially with Zed's own prejudices against the werewolves. This acts as an interesting metaphor for intersectionality and how people who've been subject to prejudices often have their own prejudice towards another group or community now that they've already dealt with that treatment. What else could Disney look at? The assumption is that Disney will keep following the same themes, and we can expect the third part to take a closer look at Addison's own self-discovery. However, many fans have said that they'd really like to see something else other than the themes which have already been explored by the two movies. To be fair, let's give Disney a chance to surprise us with a theme. We'll just have to wait till the third movie is out to cast our judgments on that one. A new species will come to Seabrook? Now for the next prediction. Okay, this is definitely not a new theory. They were almost certain that Zombies 3 will introduce a new species in Seabrook, and for now, our best guess is that they'll introduce aliens. We basically see them land at the end of Zombies. They're most probably connected to the stone that created the zombies and werewolves. Super observant fans noticed that the night before Prawn, there was a shot that showed the transition of a starlit sky and the Milky Way across the trees in the Forbidden Forest. It's possible that could have been a standard time transitional visual, but it could have also been some foreshadowing. We've already mentioned the possibility of vampires being introduced. We have plenty of reasons to believe that Addison will be the focus in Zombies 3 since she's the one who was hell-bent on finding out where she really belongs. As per common theories, the A in her name stands for alien, but have you ever thought that it could also mean alpha? Maybe she's actually the great werewolf alpha. Her last name is Wells, so if we go with the idea of initials representing species, Wells could mean that she is a werewolf like Willa, Wyatt, and Winter. A time jump. This next fan theory is a bit too crazy, but seeing how the movie began 50 years after the explosion, a time jump is not totally impossible either. As a matter of fact, our theory suggests that the third movie might even take place before the explosion. We're sure the zombies didn't just back down without a fight. Addison explained to Zed that her family hated the zombies because a zombie bit her grandfather's ear off years ago. Maybe this happened in the middle of a Cold War before the government made the zombies. We wouldn't be surprised if we find out that the explosion was not even an accident, but it was something that was planned by some people in power to put an end to their rivals. A time jump could also mean going into the future instead of the past. The theory is that the meteor which fell from the sky created a shift in time, and now we have zombies, werewolves, and humans. They could start to get intermarried and, as a result, give birth to hybrids of all three species. It could even possibly place them in another dimension where Addison is the only one who remembers what happened in Seabrook, and she has to find her friends and explain everything to them. Okay, if we don't get a new species, we could maybe settle for a foreign exchange student. These guys are a cliche for a reason. They really know how to keep things interesting throughout the movie. Someone who has never been in contact with a zombie or a werewolf could also switch things up somewhat and possibly interfere with Zed and Addison's love. This exchange student could also be a crucial part of Addison's journey to find out who she really is. Maybe they'll be a sheep in wolf's clothing and would pretend to be nice when they'll actually secretly be plotting against our heroes. Zed's backstory. Another thing we want to learn more about is Zed. It's possible that Zed could be a sibling. There must be a reason why we're yet to see his parents, and since Disney hasn't given us an answer, fans came up with their own theories as to why she wasn't affected by the zombie outbreak and had to leave her family behind. Because she was still human and not a zombie, any trace of her had to be removed because the memory was too unbearable. The other theory is that Zed is actually a hybrid. His mom is a human who fell in love with a zombie and kept it a secret from her family. After Zoe was born, her family found out and she had to leave so that she wouldn't put her new family in danger while she was living as a human. It gets crazier. It's also been theorized that Ed's mom remarried and had another baby. Zombies 3 will probably introduce the siblings who will reunite with Zed and Zoe and hopefully the mom if she's still alive too. We discovered yet another interesting theory that says that Zed's mom was murdered by Addison's parents. If you think about it, this actually sets up the perfect conflict for Zombies 3. Zed will have trouble loving Addison knowing that her parents killed his mom, but in the end, they'll overcome that and as a result, teach us that the mistakes of our parents should not define us. Addison has a sibling? Let's discuss how Addison could possibly have a sibling. She's probably not being raised by her biological parents. Otherwise, how do we explain the white hair? It could mean that her family members are either dead or they've been searching for her all this time. Let's assume that her family members are still alive. A theory suggests that due to unavoidable circumstances, Addison's parents had to leave her behind or give her up for adoption. And an even wilder theory that's been floating around suggests that her parents kidnapped her, unaware that she's a supernatural being. And so, after she turned a certain age, they began giving her pills that would suppress her true powers so she wouldn't figure out who she really is. It's far-fetched, but it's possible. Well, that's all for today's video, folks. If you've enjoyed it, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, The Focus, for more movie-related news. We'll see you next time. Bye.